black video over our budgeting. Today we're going to be looking at a mock budget, and this is going to go really quick. So if you'd like to personally fill out a budget with me, feel free to reach out. I'm always available. Or also you can come to one of our workshops next week, and we're going to be in the dorms helping you fill out mock budgets. But for your own personal budget, just keep what I'm going to say in mind so you can later apply it. So this is just like an overall college budget that I made. I don't know if it applies to everyone, but hopefully it applies to you in some way or another. So to begin with, we need to talk about the difference between income and savings. So income is on the left, as you can see. And for this person, their income, they get from McDonald's and they get from babysitting. So this is kind of like maybe about how much you'll get every 2 weeks or maybe even a month, depending on how often you get paid, stuff like that. And then your savings are on your right, and that's the money that you don't spend that stays in your account and you save it and for a rainy day or school or anything like that. So their savings on the right overall is about $2,000, but they took some of their income, and you can see on the ending, they added about $125 for this paycheck. So their overall savings is a bit more. So that they also added a little bit to their school savings, but they didn't have enough money to add to their vacation savings. So sometimes you won't have as much money to put in certain things, and that's where the needs versus wants comes in, because you need to pay for your school, you need to save up for your school, and you need to have, overall savings so you can maybe one day buy a house or your car breaks down, so like your rainy day savings, stuff like that. You might not be able to put stuff in your vacation, but always list everything that you want or that you are saving towards in your budget so you can see the progress that you make month to month. So for this is kind of like the school and, let me move the camera, sorry. There you go. This is for the school and other stuff. So on the left, we have tuition and fees and textbooks, and this is about how much they think they're going to pay. So they're budgeting for $5,000. They think their school tuition, fees, and textbooks is going to cost $5,000. In actuality, it's a little less than that. They got the tuition right, but maybe something happened where they didn't have to buy as many textbooks, or one of the professors was like, you don't need it, stuff like that. So the actuality that they spent money on textbooks was significantly less than what they thought, so they actually ended up saving money. But the problem with that is you need to always overestimate. So don't just assume that you're going to be paying $4,500 and then it be $5,000, because then you're $500 out of what you need to pay. So always overestimate in your budget. On the right side, it's the same. You're budgeting more than you may actually spend, but you also may spend more than you put on your budget on accident. So for groceries, their monthly budget for groceries is about $200, and this month this person only spent $187. So that's totally fine. That's a great way to be. You had $200 put away for your groceries for the month specifically, and you only spent $187 of it. However, maybe this month you went out more times than you thought you were going to. Maybe it was a friend's birthday. Maybe you got coerced into going out to dinner with a group of friends, and you spent $78, but you only budgeted $75. Now, that's not as huge a deal than if you would have, say, spent $150. That's doubling your budget. $3 in the grand scheme of things, you're probably thinking that doesn't really make or break anything. But the point is to not ever go over the budget. That's why the budget is in place. And then we can see the good things happen with fuel and clothing. So in the end, it kind of leveled out. So the total budget for the month for other stuff that they wanted to do was $600, but they only spent about $443. So that's okay, but make sure to try to not go over the budget. And like it says in the bottom, you need to always buy groceries, but dining out's more, and you don't ever have to necessarily buy them. So I know we're going quick, but bear with me. So for this has housing and then our debt. So these are two very important aspects of your budget, because if you don't live on campus, it's going to be expensive. It's just the fact. Renting or owning a house is expensive. You have to budget appropriately. So for this, The concept that I went with this is the rent for the overall apartment or house is about $825, but they're splitting it with a couple of people, and that's totally fine. You can do that. But if something happens and one of your roommates, you don't know them very well, and they fall through, it's up to you and the rest of your roommates to pick up the slack. So they only pay about $210 a month, but maybe one day it'll go up. So that's why you should budget the whole amount just in case, if you can, if it's possible. Utilities, internet, and the renter's insurance is all about the same. The thing with renter's insurance is that it's for each individual, so you pay for yourself. You can't split that with roommates, not and the like. But per month for this apartment or house is about $1,200, and this person is only paying for about $465. So manageable, but you have to live with other people and stuff like that. On the credit card, you have this is your debt. So this is how much was on your credit card when the month started. So you didn't pay it in time last month. So you have $217, but this month you actually got to pay a little bit on it. So it's down to $175, and your car payment, it's the same. You just pay a little bit at a time. So you can see at the beginning of the month it was $34.78, but you paid almost $400 on it. So you did really good on your debt that month. And some months is not going to be good. Some months that will go higher. Some months that will go down a little bit. Some months that'll stay the same. That's why you have your budget, so you can see all of this and see the progress you're making and see where your money's going. Because if you're spending $300 a month on food when you could be spending some of that on managing your debt, you should, move and mitigate your money a bit more and stuff like that. And you can also see, just kind of going back to the housing, sometimes renting alone is impossible. So you really have to realize this and know where your money's going and know how to finance yourself, because you can't just jump into a lease in an apartment and expect to be able to pay it and then not be able to pay it. So last one, real quick, this is kind of like your bills and your wants and goals. So for your bills, they are more important than your wants and goals in the idea that you have to pay them. It may not be more important in the idea that you value them more, that you have to pay them. So for this, your phone bill, your subscriptions, your car insurance, your health insurance, everything like that, you have to pay those bills if you want to keep those things. Subscriptions kind of go into wants, but there's still a bill, you still get billed monthly, so it's if you could drop one, that's the one you would drop if you had to. And then wants and goals, you can have as much or as little on that side as you want. I put art supplies, maybe this person really likes to do some kind of art, I don't know, canvas painting or whatnot, and they like to spend, money on new paints, new brushes, and things like that. So they spend about $200, but they actually in the end save $25 because they usually buy more, stuff like that. Same with the vacation, they wanted to go somewhere this month, so they did, everything like that. So just keep all this in mind, and when you make your own budget, you should keep all of these things that I talked about in mind, all of the different graphs, the ones and goals, the bills, the housing, the other with the groceries and everything. All of this should be on your budget because this is all going to be funneling or saving some kind of money. So just keep in mind what I said. This is a mock budget. You can fill out one yourself. There's great mock ones online you can find. You can also see on the Smart Black. We have some mock budgets that we're going to be filling out. So please stay tuned. Please check us out. And